Hey everybody, it's Jason Duncan with Results for Integrity, back again with another Friday sales tip. This week my tip is this: ask bold questions. As a salesperson, your job is to help the person make their mind up. You're not telling them what to decide, you're not making the decision for them, but you are helping them make their mind up. That's your job as a professional salesperson. Now, how do you help them do that? By asking the right questions. You've got to get them to think about it in the ways they wouldn't have thought about it on their own. If they'd have thought about it on their own without your help, they wouldn't need you, they would have made the decision on their own. But in fact, you're there as a professional salesperson to help them make the decision. So your job is to ask bold questions. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of some bold questions, but these aren't necessarily what you need to ask in every situation. The main point I want to drive home today in this Friday sales tip is that you have to ask the bold questions. Now, what I'm not telling you to do is to be rude. I'm not telling you to be a jerk. I'm not telling you to be a know-it-all. I'm not telling you to do any of those things. But I am telling you to ask bold questions, because if you don't, you're going to end up being like a lot of people in a sales presentation. You've got the buyer on one side, you got the seller on one. They're both saying things, hoping the other person doesn't really know their true motivations. And at the end of the sales pitch, all you did is waste a lot of time. The buyer walks away with wasting a time on your sales pitch. You walk away wasting a time on a sales pitch. Neither of you got any benefit out of that. But if you ask bold questions, you can move beyond that. So let me give you some examples of bold questions. The first one is this: what do you know about, and then fill in the blank. Now, this is you have to ask this question carefully, because if you ask it at the wrong time, you're going to sound like a know-it-all, you're going to sound like a jerk. But here's why you want to ask this question. If you're dealing with someone in a sales pitch where the prospect thinks that he or she knows more about the subject matter than you, and frankly that does happen from time to time, but not frequently enough for them to act this way. But if they act like they know more than you need to ask the bold question: well, what do you know about LED lighting? You know, we as a company, Energy Lighting Services, we do LED lighting in commercial buildings all over the country. And if I sense early on in the process that the prospect that I'm speaking to thinks that they know more about LED lighting than I do, I may ask in a gentle, real, bold way, what do you know about LED lighting? And what you're trying to figure out is, what knowledge base are they using to come up with their opinion? And that sometimes will help diffuse the know-it-all situation. Another example is, you could say something like this: just out of curiosity, what is it specifically that you need to take time to think about? That's a bold question. And it should be asked in response to a prospect saying, this is really good, I just need some time to think about it. Well, what happens in most sales presentations is you got the salesperson go, okay, well, when should I call you back? That's not a bold question. That's a lay down and let the other person run the process question. What you need to ask is, let me ask you a question, just out of curiosity, what is it specifically that you need time to think about? Or you could ask a question like, what's stopping you from making the decision right now? Those are bold questions. And again, these aren't examples for you to use in every situation, but they're examples of asking bold questions. A final example I want to give you today is this: what makes you say that? Now, this could be used at many different places inside your sales presentation, but usually at an objection. Maybe you've given a point, you've given a value, you've given a benefit, and they kind of push back a little bit and they give you a counter position to what you just said. You could say, well, what makes you say that? And that is a bold question, because it makes them have to come back to you and give you some information about how they based their opinion. So those are some examples. And again, don't just take those verbatim and go use those in your sales pitch. The point here is ask bold questions. Your job as a professional salesperson is to get that person to make up their mind. Their mind may be no, but their mind may be yes. And here's how you want to base all this on. If you don't truly believe that they get more benefit out of this sale than you do, then you're probably not going to be able to ask bold questions, because deep down inside, you're not going to want to, because you don't think it's the right thing. But if you're selling something that you believe that buyer, that prospect is going to get more benefit out of than you, then you can ask those bold questions, because you know you want them to make the right decision. Thank you for tuning in for the Friday Sales Tip. I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram at The Real Jason Duncan. You can follow my Facebook page at RTI Coach, and that's Results Through Integrity. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Real Jason Duncan. I'm even on TikTok as the TikTok Sales Pro. If you need any help with selling or entrepreneurial adventures, let me know. I'd be happy to help you. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.